So even though we do it to YouTube, it's still gonna record to the result and we still get to TikTok. I mean, what was over there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, actually, you know what? I think that might be an option to turn it off. Yeah, we can turn it off just to delete it. Save it.
Okay.
So I'll still just check everything. So,
Okay. We'll show Janice how to do this. To stop it?
yeah, you literally just have a slide. So,
Okay.
I think it's easiest to have it something where the teacher can see, as long as they're not going to get distracted.
Yeah, I don't know what's this one. This is I'll put it in the closet.
Clear as mud?
Yep.
Alright, awesome. Morning. How are you? Yeah, good. Alright guys, enjoy your night.
Oh, wait, David. We're just waiting for Janice. No, I'm excited.
Karen's coming too.
Good.
Are you still looking at your other job, Tracy?
Yes, until June 8th. I'm done.
Do you have a sunburn?
Oh my god, I'm so sunburned.
What did you do? Fun.
Quinn was at the Northeast Rowing Championships this weekend, so
Got
we were
lots
in
of fun.
Lowell and it was sunny and beautiful and
That's
and
awesome.
you didn't even realize we were
Yeah.
frying away. So Sunday, like we were all hiding under tents and
I'm so glad it's like sunny enough to get a sunburn. And I pulled up
yeah.
The video for it.
Although I haven't had a sunburn in I can't tell you how many years.
Yeah.
Well, because I put like sunscreen on before we left, but I really wasn't thinking about we were going to be there for
Right.
12 hours.
At least it's sunny.
And the last 3 regattas, it's poured rain, so, you know, we just weren't ready.
Good morning, everybody.
Good
How
morning.
are you? I'm Janice. I'll be with you in just a second. It's normally,
Page 60, 60.
yeah, but this book is messed
Oh,
up. This one we gotta put in.
Do you know one? Okay.
It's like, I don't have like 55, 60, then 60 missing. But I always go over it again, their book.
Okay, I
As
pulled
well
it.
as I have one of their books out, we always go over it.
So I have mission one is here, and then I think I pulled out the PDF.
I'm just gonna run next to my folder of night book, so I have it.
Okay.
Cause that's how I go over it, cause I was like, from last week.
So now I just need to come to the 2 that I missed, and then I'm all set. I graduate.
You're all set with us. Check in with yourself.
No, I
I'm just
can't. I did all of them. I just
Yeah,
want to make
no.
sure I'm, you know.
Yeah, you're kosher. Yeah. Yep. From our standpoint, you are, as long as
Alright.
you complete them all. You're off and running and you're feeling good. Okay. I feel like I haven't seen you in a little while.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to wrap up at the doctor's office, so
Okay.
I was like, I'm gonna put all the classes on hold so I can clean up all that because I wasn't getting everything done on either end, so.
Gotcha. Yep.
So I was like, I can
It's
do all
fun.
my bold stuff while I'm still doing that, and then I'll be done June 8th.
This is my last week.
Congratulations. Yes. We need to celebrate.
Yes.
You're awesome.
Yes,
Okay.
because it's been, I keep letting them talk me into 2 more weeks, and I'm finally like, no more 2 more weeks.
Yeah.
No more 2 more weeks, because you guys are killing me. You're like, you know, the problem's gonna go away by the time you get to the end of 2 weeks, a new problem pops up.
Yeah.
So I'm like, no. It's like, I figured this out now, no more 2 weeks.
There's a habit there. Gotcha. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Morning. Okay.
So do you have the PowerPoint upstairs?
Yes, I do. It's behind all of us. So I just
Oh,
want
it's
to show
here.
everyone quickly how to access it. Not
Yeah.
everyone has it
Yeah.
today. Lisa's ordering them and they'll be in hopefully by next week.
Okay. And I always show them how to get into it too, where it goes and how to click on the thing and how this is interactive. And what I'll do is send out this sheet to everyone in the class at the end, so that even if they don't have a book, they can watch all the videos directly, because I have one that's for non-KW, which it isn't really for non-KW, it's for anybody who doesn't have a book.
That's right. And those like sometimes work better anyway because I think some of them.
They can click right on it.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
no problem. So then mine is down here somewhere.
So now we have the new
Oh, there we
version.
are. Okay. Oh, and I'm on video today too.
We're on video. We're recording.
Yeah,
We're recording.
okay, no problem.
Okay, so
All
I'm
right.
gonna show you how to
Yes.
do this. I'm gonna turn it on and then we can just shut it. You just hit the red button again and shut it off is what I just did.
You okay? Okay.
Okay.
So what on breaks and things, I should just shut it off and then start it back up?
Yep, when you start it back up, it's going straight to YouTube, so I think you need to hit the swipe button and publish is what it is.
Okay, hopefully everyone know where publish is.
It's a blue, it's this,
It'll be there?
it'll be blue right here.
Oh,
I don't know what I wanna do.
beautiful.
Okay.
Okay.
Should we get this party started?
Sure, let's get this part going. You introduce and I'll just introduce.
Doesn't matter. Joe wants me to be here and make sure that basically.
Yeah.
And I'll introduce you.
Okay.
Alright. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I think I'm trying to do this right. Maybe I've been on here the whole time. I'm not sure. I think we're live. I'm gonna have to send David back over to double check.
Okay, no problem.
So, does everyone know each other?
We're gonna do introductions.
We're doing an introduction.
We're gonna do introductions.
Okay, so I'm Joe this morning. I'm filling in for Joe. Joe's at a golfing event, so let him know that I'd swing by and be him and be extra hard on you and hold you accountable and all that good stuff. So anyway, this is an amazing class that we have. When I started, I took this class and it really helped set my foundation up right, and I had wished that I had engaged more in the first one when I had the opportunity, because I didn't realize the habits that were forming with what they're having you do. And those set you up not just for today, but for forever. And not just in this room, but for outside of here too. So I really, really encourage you to plug in and engage and take the actions, even if they're hard. Like, let us know. We're here to help you and get through it. We're not here to punish you. We don't want to make you suffer through this. So it's meant to be enjoyable. So.
All right, so welcome.
Wait.
Oh, she's not done yet.
I'm not done yet. I have to tell you about this woman. Especially, I think we're all on PC. And this was my PC coach. She literally rocked my world. You did. When I first met you, I was pretty much crumbling and didn't know what to do with myself and really struggling with my business and where it was at. And I met Janice, and she not only believed in me, she gave me the tools that I needed to really start my business growing again. So You have an incredible resource here. Please take advantage, ask her questions, get to know her, and have fun today.
Great.
Enjoy.
Well, thank you so much.
Oh, it's Janice Ryder.
Hey!
Yes.
As many of you know, first of all, I keep taking my shoes on and off because they're slippery and I'm afraid I'll like to do diggers. So many of you do or do not know me, so I'm going to start off a little bit. I'm going to tell you a little bit about me. Then I'm going to have each one of you introduce yourselves so that we know, because you guys will become a little family. You'll be this little Ignite family. And most of my first Ignite class, when I taught here 2 years ago, they're still best friends. So you're going through this together and you will become even maybe closer than some of you may already be. So Janice Ryder, licensed 25 years, January 18th of this year. I sold 59 houses my very first year, 72 my second, and 89 my third in the province of Nova Scotia, Canada, where nobody moves. They die in the house they're born in. So I learned really quickly how to get busy, get business, and do it fast. And so that's part of why I love to give back, is because I had zero help, zero. There were no PC coaches. They gave me a phone and a phone book and said, good luck, literally. And I was with another company at the time, and I never let that stop me. And I never let that stop me for a lot of reasons, and that's why I like teaching this class. Today, we're really gonna set your mind in the right place to be very, very successful at this business. Since then, since I left Nova Scotia and I moved back to Maine, I was a big agent for Coldwell Banker in Maine. Then I became the listing specialist on Kathy Manchester's team. You should all know Kathy. That's our designated broker now. That was about 16, 17 years ago. I listed 107 houses my first year on Kathy's team. Did that for a couple of years. Then I became the assistant team leader, much like David Morse is here. I was the very first assistant team leader at Keller Williams Portland. I've been at Keller Williams really since 2003, and I love this company. I made a mistake and did my own, no wait, it wasn't a mistake. I took an opportunity and opened my own company, Allen and Seelig Realty, which was at one point the fastest growing small agency in Maine back in 07. Who knows what else happened in 07? Oh yeah. So I ran a very successful real estate company in really hard times in 07 till 12. Sold my company in 12, moved down to North Carolina because I really hate snow. I moved to North Carolina where I was a team leader for Keller Williams office. I did 59, when I got there were 57 agents. When I left 3 years later there was 160. So I was very successful in growing that company. Many of you know, some may not, that your team leader here happens to be my daughter, my oldest child. Shannon is my daughter. And she took this team leader role, and there was an opportunity for a productivity coach. At the same time, life was changing in North Carolina, and so I said, what the heck, that's the best job in the whole company. So I came back to Maine. There were about 17 people in the program when I started. I left less than 2 years later, and there was 111. So grew that program and decided to go back into sales. I now run Lifestyle Properties is my team. There's 11 of us. We were number 5 last month. In our second month together, we were number 5 in Portland. So we're doing really, really well. And it's still all about what I'm going to teach you today. Everything that I did, and I'm not bragging on who I am, I'm giving you credentials so you know that I've sat in your shoes, I walked in your shoes, I sat in your chair, I haven't stood in your chair, anyway. And that's what makes me so passionate about this class. People ask me all the time, what was it that made you successful in business, in the real estate business? There's 2 things. Well, actually, there's probably 3. Energy, passion, which is energy and passion kind of go together, and confidence. You have to find a way to be confident. And even if you're confident that you don't know the answer, be confident about it. I am confident I can get that answer from you. And that is a lot better than, I don't know. So we're going to talk about a whole lot of things in here today. Ignite is a 12-session program taught by 12 different instructors in this market center. people like me, people like John Hatcher and Ann Chinquette and Don LaRue, and there's so many amazing instructors that come here and give you 3 hours of their time. Remember, when I was in your shoes, they gave me a phone and a phone book and said, good luck. Oh, by the way, we didn't have cell phones back then. We didn't have laptops. Maybe you had a desktop if you were lucky, maybe. We didn't even necessarily have computers. So it was a very different world. And as I look back on it now, I think how lucky people are to be starting with the technology that's coming for this company and the technology that already exists in the real estate world. It's just a completely different place than those of us who have been around a long time where we came from. So Ignite, what I love more than anything about Ignite is that Ignite it's because it's taught by so many different people. All of you have different backgrounds, have come from different things. You bring different things to your real estate table. Everybody that's up here brings different things to your real estate table as well. So before we go any further, I want to start right over here in the front. Thank you for sitting in the front. I really should start in the back, but I'm going to start in the front. And I want to know who you are, how long you've been in the business. In most cases, that could be a number of days or weeks. And what you did before, and maybe if there's any other little tidbit you'd like us to know about.
Sure, alright.
Go ahead.
Hi everybody, my name is Volkan. I'm originally from Turkey. I came US 2 years ago, and I started real estate business a month ago with Keller Williams. And before real estate, I work as a chef like 6 years, and I have 2 years server experiences. That's it.
Neat. Well, welcome from Turkey, and you know we're all over Turkey.
I know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a good thing for you.
Yeah, I'm gonna work on that for.
Yeah. Oh, talk about opportunities. Oh, yeah. And we'll talk about some opportunities in here today in this company, because this company changed my life like you can't even begin to imagine. When a company changes the lives of your children, it's forever. And this company changed the lives of my children. My son just got his license. Both of my children now have a real estate license. So, okay, so welcome.
Thank you.
So you speak Turkish
And English.
and English. Okay, good. So in case I run into some Turkish people,
Of course.
don't laugh. We have all kinds of languages over here in my thing.
Actually, my first client buyer, he is Turkish.
There you go. There you go. So, and that's one of the things that we're going to talk about a little bit today is find those niches. There are niches out there. There's a lady down in Hendersonville, North Carolina. That's where I was. That's where I was a team leader. So you'll hear me say Hendersonville once in a while. It's out in the Blue Ridge Mountains near Asheville, in case anybody wants to know. Love it there. One of my very first people really didn't speak hardly any English. She was completely Spanish. And I helped her write, well, I didn't help her write it, she wrote it, but I told her what to say, and she translated it into a Spanish paper. And that woman has capped every year since the day she started, and she still doesn't speak a whole lot of English, in a very English-speaking part of North Carolina. So, yeah, oh yeah, you just find your niche, Okay, welcome.
Hi. Hi, we'll say our names, that's over.
Yep, I'm gonna tell them who we are, where
Yeah.
we're from, what our life.
Maybe what we did
Well, I know
before
most
or
of it, I know a lot of
something
these
like
people
that.
already.
Whatever you want to tell us.
But, Karen Bowe, and, I started halfway through Ignite, so I'm glad it's starting again, because I'll be able
Great.
to get the part that I've missed.
Yeah.
And go through the whole thing again. Actually, I love having the fact that we're able to talk to agents that have been in the field forever. But, as most of you know, my mother-in-law helped start the company, and my husband loves you. He was agent.
He was at Allen and Selig Realty. Her husband worked at my company.
Yeah, and I would say that yes, for the children and everything too, it's like profit sharing, everything. I think that's it. Goes down to your kids. It's just amazing what this company's about. So
Yeah.
that's me anyway.
Yeah, her mom is the reason that I am in Keller Williams. I mean, her and a couple of other people that, snagged me. But, I have a massive respect for Dottie Bowe and for Scotty. God, I used to
Scotty.
call him Scotty Hottie.
Scotty
He was this cute little blonde thing, you know, he's a little older now, but yeah. Tell him I told everybody to call him Scotty Hottie, it's okay.
He's
Oh, we're
47.
videotaping this.
I don't know, I just thought you looked hot.
Yeah, you're Scotty Hottie.
My goodness, his head would be this big now. I'm just kidding.
That's right.
Oh, no, wait a minute, that was his brother.
So welcome, Karen, I'm really glad to have you here. Glad
Thank
you're-
you.
Okay, next. I don't know how you follow Scotty
Yeah, I
Hottie, but
don't
go
know.
for it, give it a shot.
I'm Tracy Chacoin. I've been here a whole week longer than Karen. So I missed the first week of Ignite, so you'll see me for the first week of Ignite. And I'm at Bold with you.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm currently part-time, but as of June 8th, I go full-time. Yay!
Yay. It's a big step, you got it,
Yes.
you got it.
Yeah.
Good,
so
congratulations for being
I'm-
in Bold too, because
yeah.
that's, you'll hear later some of the things that got me started, and it was a thing similar to Bold, so.
Yeah, no, I'm ready to be done. I love my people at the doctor's office. They gave me a great opportunity. Not a lot of people want to hire somebody that's been a stay-at-home mom for 16 years, but no more.
Time, yep.
Well done.
Great.
Yep.
Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, back row,
My name's Sandra, and
and I'm Bold.
I am.
She's Bold too,
Nice.
we are all in Bold together.
And I've always had a desire to do real estate. Thought I could do well at it. The people part of it, I had no idea all the other stuff that was part of it.
They don't tell us that, if they did, nobody'd do it.
But it's been really, it's a, you know, the whole educational part, after being out of school for a long time, it was a challenge, and the whole technology part has been a challenge, but I'm not gonna give up.
No, you're
And
not.
I'm going to, just keep showing up every day, and eventually this stuff's gonna click in my head. But I decided, so I lost my husband a year ago, April 27th was a year. And so I had to figure out a plan B. And I thought, what can I do to make a decent living, and still be able to have some sort of a way to create my own schedule, because I'm currently working as a server and a hostess, and I'm just getting too old for it, you know, lifting those trays, and, I was a special ed teacher, couldn't stand the politics. Went into the restaurant business, and I love it. So, that's kind of how I should, Dottie
Yep,
is the one
yep.
I met.
Ignite,
her-
are you
her-
looking for Ignite? No, I guess not.
I met her future daughter-in-law, Tina, through a group of friends. She told me about Dottie and about Keller Williams and about Marnie, and she could not stop raving.
Right.
So next thing I know, Dottie's calling. She's like, "Well, can I give Dottie your information?" I'm like, "Sure." So she called me, and
The rest is history.
I fell in love.
That's
with
what
her.
happens. Once you Dottie, you're getting Dottie, you're
Once you're
you're
Dottie,
in.
that's
So,
it.
Yeah, you're in, you're in,
She's
so.
kind of like in my corner now, and reminding me that, you know, Keller Williams is a company where you are not alone.
Yeah, no, never. Well, welcome, and congratulations for being Bold. Okay,
I'm Patrice Houlihan, and I currently work in a doctor's office in Auburn, and I've always been interested in we're all from doctor's offices.
Yeah.
I've always been interested in real estate. My husband and I have bought and flipped some homes. We've bought and sold several of our own after fixing them up and kind of flipping our own as well. I've just always had an interest in selling, and we had a patient come in who was just exasperated because she was so busy and she needed help, and convinced me. And one of the questions that I asked her, she did tell me that she started in 2007,
yeah,
knowing that was the big housing crash. And I asked her how she got to be so successful, or how she did so well in her first year, and it was this course. This is what made her.
yeah. Who is it?
This gave her everything. Helen Ruler.
Oh, yeah, oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
I've known Helen a long time.
Yeah.
Well,
She's
such a
very
success.
successful. She's very
Very,
busy.
very successful.
And
Yeah.
really, I think she's going to be a great partner. She's really
Cool.
holding my hand and taking me along
Yeah.
and.
Well, and
Very
thank you for being learning based, you know, that to me is one of the biggest foundations of that Keller Williams brings. There's a million things we bring to the table. I'm getting goosebumps for all my whole entire body getting goosebumps talking about the things we bring to the table for people. But if you're not learning based, you're not going to take it away from here. You've got to open your mind to the fact that I still take classes all the time because I can be better at what I do. So, congratulations and welcome. The poor doctors up in Lewiston Auburn are going to be in trouble. That's all I got to say.
Mine's in South Portland.
Oh, you're in South Portland. Oh, good. Thank God we're not all coming from the same place. Okay, next.
I'm Melody Heath. I am still a nurse, so I'm dual career
Oh,
right now.
there we go. I have 4 registered nurse sisters. I used to have 5.
Yeah. So I just have free time, and I thought I like real estate, and I wanted to learn about it while I still have time to
Very
do stuff
smart.
I like.
Nurses make excellent
I'm just
realtors.
learning.
They do because they're used to the paperwork. They have a servant mindset. They want to take care of people. You know, so and you work hard and long hours sometimes, so you don't mind it.
Yeah.
You know, so congratulations. And you're drinking some kind of master brew
So
first thing in the morning. I'm not
I
going to
had
ask
my
any
teeth
questions
pulled.
about that.
I had my teeth pulled, and I've been on antibiotics, and my stomach is like.
I saw a master brew and I'm thinking, okay,
I know,
that's
I've got all sorts of things happening right now.
Welcome. Yeah. All right, last but certainly not least.
Yeah, my name is Gabe Axelson, and I went right into the car business right after high school and spent the last 4 years there, and now I'm here.
Wow,
Just got
4
my
years.
license. Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah, I know, right?
Well, you know, one of the things that absolutely thrills me about this business is the opportunity for young people. The youngest person I coached in the PC program was 18 at the time that I coached him. He's now 21 or 2. Look at my daughter. My daughter was 23 years old. She lived at 21, she moved to Nashville, Tennessee because she's an absolutely unbelievably gifted vocalist. If you have not looked up Shannon Seelig on YouTube, check her out. Your team leader, has the voice of an angel. And she moved to Nashville. At 22, she called me and said, I want to open a record label. I said, how do you do that? She says, don't worry, I Googled it. And then a couple years later, she wanted to put out a Christmas CD, and the music industry is awful. And so she wanted to put out a Christmas CD, so she said, I think I'm going to just sell some real estate so I can pay for my Christmas CD. I said, good, because I'm not paying for it. And so she did, and the rest is history. She did 2 or 3 million her first year, 5 the second, became a PC coach, crushed it, and a year and a half later, Dottie and I were talking, she asked about Shannon. Dottie got a hold of Shannon, and lo and behold, she's been the team leader here now for just about 3 years. So, and she's 29 years old. So you think there isn't unbelievable opportunities in this company? And now she's a MAPS coach, and she goes to France and teaches the team leaders in France once in a while, and she's going to speak, and you know, she just, the opportunities are crazy if you're all in, plug in, and make this your career. Some people talked about freedom. Absolutely, you have freedom in real estate. And if you take too much freedom, you're not going to be successful. So make this a job. It's a job. You have to show up every day. My team, right now, there goes another one going by. There he is. My team shows up every single morning, and we do scripts for 15 minutes, and then they lead generate every single morning for 2 hours, unequivocally. Now, Michael's going to have to do 9 to 11 because he can get here quarter off, but that's okay. 2 hours of lead gen every single morning. So that's one of the very first things that I want to make sure everybody takes away from this class is that this is a job. Now, if you have another job, then you have to figure out how to fit it into this job until you get so good at this job that you don't want the other job. And that's your coach, your PC coach, your mentor, your friend that's a realtor, myself, we can all help you figure out how to do that. And you have to be all in. So let's make a commitment today that we are all in, that we're going to do the stuff. I have a sign that hangs over my desk that says, always make the hard calls first. Not every time is it going to be easy to pick up your phone. Not every time is it going to be easy to knock on doors. And the times that you do it are the times that that you're going to win. And the more time you do it, You know, they can't hurt you over the telephone. Just remember that. They can't hurt you over the telephone. All right, so first we're gonna talk about get your head in the game. My page numbers do not always line up with your page numbers, so, and I've learned that after 27 times teaching this class, so I keep your book and my book up here so that I can do my darndest to tell you the right page. We're gonna get on the one that says, welcome, page 7, welcome to Ignite, get your head in the game. You're in business. You have the opportunity at this company to build yourself a real estate business. How many people don't have books right now? One, two.
Yeah, do you know the password, Janice, so that I can get in?
Yep, Fresh Comet 596, right here.
Oh, okay, sorry.
It's next year, you're fine
Should we
with Fresh
print off the
Comet
book? I
596.
didn't want, or should we just buy the book?
The books are coming, they're ordered, they have not arrived yet, so they're on their way, the rest of the books are. The books are $35, you can buy them, or you cannot buy them. I think now they actually come in your original package, so I don't wanna misquote.
Yeah, no, we didn't have
Because
to buy
they
them.
changed things after I was out of PC, they changed the structure a little, so I think you automatically get one.
Yeah.
If you have a laptop, I would love to show you where you can find this right now.
When they come in, they'll hand them out right in class.
You can find this at mykw.kw.com. Let me get back to my thing here. mykw.kw.com. Under you click on the education. You can also get them by kwconnect.com, which probably I should have just showed you that, it's shorter.
Yeah.
Some of these have changed, so see this little box right here, it says Ignite. So it's kwconnect.com, and then there's a little button that says Ignite. If for some reason that didn't pop up when you show it, this little thing over here, when you put that, you can type in Ignite, it will take you to the same place. So once you have the Ignite come up, you can go down here to Student Resources. Do not go to purchase materials, you don't need any of that. We are in Power Session 1, Ignite Your Business. So, there's a mission in each one of these power sessions. The mission, when you click on it, looks like this. The cool thing about this is from this mission, you can just click on these little arrows and watch all the videos for each mission. One of your first homework things for tonight, whoops, wrong button, is to go to Power Session Mission 2. And if there are videos, there's not videos on every single session, so just a second, it's coming. There are videos. Ooh, look at all the videos. There's lots of videos.
Yeah, they're very short though.
They're very short. They're minutes long. Many of these things on this mission 2 have already been done for you because we hire this wonderful company called Scott Leroy Marketing, and Scott Leroy Marketing does most of this setup for you. It does not hurt for you to watch these 1 and 2 minute videos to go, oh, that's how I get in there, or that's how I access it, or even though it's set up for you already, these videos will not hurt you to watch them, okay? So that's your, that is mission number 2 for tomorrow. So let's talk again. How do we get there? Go to what?
For tomorrow?
How do we, I'm sorry, for the next session.
Okay, don't
It's not
scare
tomorrow.
me.
Sorry, the next session.
KW Connect.
Sorry.
I got my whole life
Automatic.
lined up with them.
So kwconnect.com, at the top of the page when you get to kwconnect.com,
Ignite.
you can do, if you scroll down, it will likely be down there, and if it's not, which it isn't on this case, because it changes all the time, you click on that little hourglass and you put in Ignite, and it will pop up right here. Course materials, looks a little different than it did when I did it the other way, and student resources, right here. If you don't know, send me an email and I will fix it, I will help you with it. Your power session mission 1, you didn't do that before today's class, so I want you to go in and I want you to watch those videos. We're gonna talk about most everything that's in those videos today, but I want you to look at those, and then I want you to do power session number 2 before your next Ignite class. Okay, so though anybody who doesn't have a manual and wants to look at the manual and follow along on their laptop, right here, Power Session 1 Manual, US. We are in US, we're not in Canada, we're not in French, sorry, we don't have one in Turkish. So go to Power Session 1,
I'm sorry, Janice.
and now you have the same manual that everyone else has in front of them on your computer. Okay, one more time. kwconnect.com. Search for Ignite up here under this little hourglassy thing. Once you find Ignite, Power Session 1, go to the manual, and that will be your manual, the same book that everyone else is looking at.
I'm having a hard time connecting to the Wi-Fi to even get there.
Okay? You're right
What I'm
there.
doing wrong.
That's right. Let's see what's let me get the here with this one.
Thank you.
It's on, okay.
You're
Alright,
right.
thank you.
So now go to KW Connect, or just, once you're in
Yeah, I
there,
went through education
just go to
last night.
education. Just
Yeah.
go to education and click on this. Okay, so get your head in the game. On page 7, I told you this is about mindset. I told you it's about confidence. I told you it's about energy. All of those things come when you're in the right place in your mind. How many times have you left the house in the morning feeling really crap? Well, here's an example from me. This is what I do. If I'm leaving the house in the morning and nothing's gone right, and my Keurig wouldn't work, and it put crumbs in my coffee, and I'm having a bad day, I drive through the Dunkin' Donuts, I pull up, I get my coffee, and I pay for the guy behind me. Every time. The minute I pay for that guy behind me, my life is back mine again. Because I've come from gratitude and contribution, and my mind is in the right place. I forgot about the fact that the butter toffee coffee that I made this morning had grounds in it. Because I've done something for someone else. So find something, find a person, find things. Some people get their energy from people, some people get their energy from solitude. Shannon, leave her alone and she will recharge. Me, drop me in the middle of a crowd of 50,000 people and I am as energized as they come. So we all get our energy and we get our mindset from different places. Find where you recharge, because in this business there's a lot of recharging time that needs to take place, because you have to have your mind in the right place. So getting your head in the game, the very first question says, have you achieved your financial goals through your career so far? Why or why not? What is one thing that makes one real estate agent more successful than others? Why don't all agents do this? How do you personally feel about that? And then the last question is your desire to succeed more powerful than your fear from doing the one thing that will make you successful? I want you to take a minute. You can write in your books if you've already got them, or write on paper, and take a look at what those questions, what do they mean to you? Give me some answers. So for anybody who doesn't have a book, have you achieved your financial goals through your career so far? Question number 1. Second question, what is one thing that makes one real estate agent more successful than others? What is the one thing? Why don't all agents do this? Whatever you wrote down above that, what is the one thing? Why don't all agents do this? And where is your mind? How do you feel about that? Where is your mind about the one thing that agents need to do to be successful? And then the last piece is your desire to succeed more powerful than your fear from doing the one thing that will make you successful? There's only one right answer on that one. All the rest were multiple choice. There's only one answer. Is your desire to succeed more powerful than your fear from doing the one thing that will make you successful? All right, so let's have a conversation about this. I don't need real personal information if nobody doesn't want to give it, or anybody doesn't want to give it. But what have people reached? Does anybody in here feel like they've completely reached their financial goals this far in their career? Okay, we know it hasn't been that long, okay? We do have a couple of people that hasn't been around doing too much, too long, but have you reached your financial goals? Has anyone in here said, you know what, I crushed it when I was whatever I was before?
Whatever we were before.
Yeah, like it's so far in your life.
Oh, yeah.
Have you met the goals that you had for yourself financially? Or better yet, do you have any goals for your financial future and your financial success? That may be the bigger
I
question.
feel like I'm fairly, trying.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
Yeah, you're intending. We don't try.
Right.
We intend.
I intend.
So, yeah. So, explain that. Tell me more.
I definitely could do better. I don't strictly budget, but I do save money every month, and I'm doing this in an effort to learn more to invest in real estate so that I can have more passive income. And I have ideas of things.
So you're intentional.
I'm
Yep.
intending, but I can
Yes.
do better.
And I think intentionality is probably one of the hardest parts. Learning to be intentional and learning to say, okay, you know, there's a terrible thing in this world that people have a bad taste about money. And I want you to get that right out of your head, because money is only good for the good that it can do. Money doesn't mean because you're wealthy you don't have to be greedy. Because you make a lot of money doesn't mean you're going to act different, or hopefully you won't. My goal, and we're going to talk later about big why, but my goal in life is to have enough money that I can give it away so no one in my world ever suffers. Because we've had a lot of suffering in our world, in my life, in my family. When Shannon came back, and she knows I tell these stories, by the way, but she's young, like so many of you, so it's very relevant. She decided to get into real estate, went to family reunion. Of course, I paid for it, I'm sure. Sorry, but I did. She went to family reunion, she came back, and there was a lock on her electric meter because she hadn't paid her bill. 4 years later, she's running a $1 billion company, or 5 years later. So, we all fail forward. We have to start somewhere, and being intentional is a huge part of that. Huge part. So great, thank you for that. How about, what is the one thing that every agent, let me read it, put my glasses back on. What is the one thing that makes one real estate agent more successful than others?
Lead generation.
Amen. Amen. Lead generation. It is the building block, the single biggest building block in our business. It's really the only thing matters. Until you lead generate so that you have leads, nothing else matters. Lead generation scares people. Lead generation can be hard. What I'm here to tell you is that there's a million forms of lead generation. Back in the day, we didn't even have cell phones. So, lead generation to me was, I would go to the grocery store, and if I saw somebody with boxes in their shopping cart, I'd congratulate them and say, you must have sold your house. And they go, oh no, but my landlord's going, oh wow, well that's a great opportunity for you. Would you like to buy a house? Oh, your landlord's selling? Ooh, has he got it listed yet? No? Well, let me have his number, and I'll make the transition so easy on you. Because you had to get business where you could get business. It's a little easier and a little harder right now than it used to be. But lead generation, absolutely. Why don't all agents do this? What are some reasons you can think of that agents don't do it?
It's intimidating.
What's that?
Intimidating.
Yep. Fear, intimidation, yeah. What else?
I think fear is the biggest thing. But just to talk about different ways, like I bought a lawnmower yesterday, and I went into Home Depot and I was paying out, and the lady had an accent. I said, "Oh, are you from around here?" And she said, "Well, I just moved here 6 months ago, Southern." And I said, "Really?" I said, "Do you live in the area?" I said, you wouldn't happen to be looking to purchase a home, would you?" Just asked her right out.
Yeah.
She's like, "Well, I do want to, but I just, haven't had the time." So we exchanged information right there at the cash
Yeah.
register.
Yeah.
And it was uncomfortable, but I said, "What the heck, I need this freaking 100 contacts this week, so I gotta get
There you go. There you go. So, yeah, and I think that's something that you gotta just learn that right now. Every single conversation in your world is a lead generation opportunity. I'm probably the most outgoing person you'll ever meet. I'm one of the most confident people you ever meet, and I also can't stand pushy people. So I don't push real estate on people. I have a script or a line, and you're gonna learn a lot of scripts through this course. I have a script for every single possible scenario that I can run into somebody for. And sometimes it's, I love the real estate book. Don't you love that? I love that it's in color. It's the only one that's still in color. Well, I have to like it because I'm a realtor. Boom. Now I'm a realtor. Now, if they have any interest in anything other than their board, and that's why they're looking at that real estate book, they will talk to you at that moment. I have to. I'm a realtor. Oh yeah, my schedule's kind of crazy. I'm a realtor. Oh yes, let me give you my cell phone number. Actually, all I have is my business card. I hope you don't mind, but I'm just going to give you my real estate business card. All of these are scripts that after 25 years and hundreds and hundreds of transactions, they came about because I took I still to this day take every opportunity. I went into Lowe's one day, and the guy was super nice that was there, and I told him I was a realtor, and he said, "Oh my God, that's so funny, my girlfriend just got her license." I said, "Oh, that's super, who is she? Let me talk to her. I'd love to talk to her about Keller Williams. It's an amazing place. She joined Keller Williams, she's in my tree."
Oh.
Now she moved to Keene, New Hampshire, but she's still with Keller Williams, so that's a good thing. Okay,
Janice,
yes.
do you still think lead generation is the most important, or do you think scripting is the most important, or do you think they kind of run off?
I think
together?
lead generation is the most important, and without scripting, your lead generation is nowhere near as successful.
Mhm.
You and I can talk to the same person on the phone, and I might close them and you might not, and you might
Right.
close them and you might not. One of the things that has been the most successful to me, and it probably has eaten up a little more time than somebody else who, like a Cash Wiseman. Cash is a script maniac. If you don't know Cash, go talk to him, because he is a script maniac, and he gets to the point and gets it closed. I create a little deeper relationship on mine because I go about it a little differently. I'm still using scripts.
Yeah.
So I find a commonality. I can find something in common with every single one of you. Trust me. Turkey might be a little challenging. I'll work on that one. I traveled around the world in a group called Up With People. I can still do the clap. My 35th reunions this summer. And we were right on the Turkish border. We didn't go in, but it was close. There we go. It's the best I can do on that one. But find something in common with people.
Mm-hmm.
When you have something in common with people. Now, don't take it so far that they want to be your tennis buddy, but they list their house with someone else because they don't see you as a professional. But start it that way, because, probably 3/4, at least half of my very best friends in the world, and I have a lot of best friends, came because I sold them houses, or sold their houses. Most of my best friends are from deals that I did. So just keep that in mind. Find something in common with people. It matters. It really does. So how do you feel about lead generation? Talk to me about is anyone in here lead generating regularly? 4 to 5 times a week?
Yeah.
Good, beautiful. For those of you who aren't, is it that you're just new enough that you haven't done it, that you still have another job? What's getting in your way? Stuff?
That what you just said, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have logins for basically anything yet.
You don't have?
I don't even have like my logins for.
Oh, okay, so you're really right at the beginning, okay. Make sure, I gotta send a sign-up sheet around. Make sure that I will send you, I have a sheet that has all the videos on it
Okay.
for people who don't have a login yet. So,
Thank you.
and it's a PDF and you can just click on them, so I can send that to everybody. At the break, I'll make sure I get a sign-in sheet, so thank you,
Okay.
Karen, she's already working on it for me. Usually there is one, but I think we forgot to do it today. All right, so is your desire to succeed more powerful than your fear from doing that one thing? And that's what you really need to think about. Is your desire to succeed more powerful? Is it gonna take a lock on your electric meter to kick your power, to kick you up? You know, what is it that it's gonna take? We're gonna talk later about vision, about vision boards and your big why. And your big why should greatly play, whether you have twins or whether you have no kids and you want them, or you've got grandkids you want to spoil, you got a daughter going to college or a son going, whatever those big whys are. And mine's change, it changes over the years, and we'll talk about that later on. Okay, so on page 8, you're in the business. The one thing that you need to do is lead generation. You're in the business of lead generation. That's your business right now, is lead generation. And you're in the business of real estate. Mindset and attitude matters. Can I get a volunteer to just read that first paragraph about mindset? Somebody want to read that for me? Sure. Okay, Sonia? Right under mindset and attitude matters.
We may think that lead generation will be making phone calls that are bothering and annoying to people. We all feel that way, especially when we feel like we're being sold to. However, when you adopt an attitude of contribution, a significant shift in how people respond happens.
So change your mindset to be of service. We are in a service industry. You're never gonna sell someone a house. You're gonna introduce them to the opportunity of changing, and that's why we made ours Lifestyle Properties, because we're changing lifestyle. You are giving people an opportunity to move into a new sector, a new chapter in their life, whichever that may be, whether it's downsizing or upsizing or first homes. So you're not bothering people. Answer me this, how would you feel if your very best friend, daughter, was gonna buy a house? It's a little hard for you to imagine, because your best friend may not even be able to have kids yet, but, so your best friend's mother is gonna buy a house, or a daughter, or whichever. So they're gonna buy a house. They don't tell you because you haven't called them to tell them that you got a real estate license 4 days ago. So they go out and they hire Joe Schmo the realtor. Joe Schmo the realtor has 2 other jobs, or doesn't really do it full time, or really doesn't really care that much about customer service. He's in it because he really wants to flip, or he just wants to. Well, whatever the reason is, not all realtors are created equal. So your best friend's mother or daughter, whichever time you're in your life, has a terrible experience, pays too much for a house, maybe doesn't even know what's going on in the transaction. Maybe it falls apart and they lose their earnest money because their agent wasn't doing the right thing. How are you going to feel? How are you going to feel when you're at lunch with your friend's mother or your daughter the next week and they go, oh my God, Joey had the worst experience last week. What happened? Well, he was trying to buy a house. Now your radar, your real estate radar is going crazy because you're going, oh my God, little Joey wanted to buy a house and I didn't know about it? Yeah, he had a terrible experience. How does that make you feel? You could have stopped that. You could have created the ultimate service experience for that mother who's downsizing, or that daughter who's buying, her son that's buying their first house. But you were too afraid to pick up the phone to call them. Really? We are helping people. We are serving people. We are creating friends for life. Literally creating friends for life in this business. Whether it's co-broke people in this class or it's your customers or your clients, we're creating friends for life. Friends don't let other friends not have a great experience. So Shift that right now in your mind. You are not bothering people. You are telling them about an opportunity to receive fabulous service. If you go to a restaurant and the service is crazy good and the prices are fabulous and the food is amazing, do you run around and tell people? If you haven't had scallops at XYZ place and you have not lived. They are the best in the world. Do you not tell people that? Well, that's the kind of relationship, and that's what you want people saying about you. So shift that right now in your mind. So the next thing we're going to talk about, Gary Keller, this was John Davis, former CEO. You chose Keller Williams as the vehicle to reach your goals. Ignite will help you build the momentum to get there fast. 6 personal perspectives. 6 personal perspectives is one of the, okay. If I talk about something and it doesn't come up, let me know, because I'm seeing something different on my screen. 6 Personal Perspectives is a class that was created by Gary Keller many years ago when he was told by his coach, Bain Henyon, that it was a very, very expensive coach. He was told to fire himself because he was a lousy CEO. He went to his coach and his coach said, "You're awful at this job. You need to find somebody better than you to do this job." So he found Mo Anderson. Mo Anderson completely changed the trajectory of our company, and to me is still, other than my grandmother, rest her soul, is the greatest woman I've ever known in my life. Mo Anderson is amazing. She was known as the Velvet Hammer. You would think she's this fluffy, she's still 80-something years old. You can still find all kinds of videos with her. She's still part of our company. She's amazing. She's our cultural icon. And he hired her, and she brought her Velvet Hammer and fired team leaders and regional people, and pretty soon the company franchised, and the rest is history. She completely changed the trajectory of this company. And when that happened, Gary Keller kind of went inward and said, I need to figure out how to figure out what I'm best at. And I want to find out. And so he wrote this class called The 6 Personal Perspectives. As with Gary Keller, he probably had help. He writes a lot, but he always has help. So I give him credit, but I'm sure there's other people that deserve credit for this class. But it's really about a series of different things. First, we're going to talk about self-mastery. Self-mastery over on page 10. And I'm going to just go around the room. I'm going to start right up front here, and each one of you, if you would help me, is going to read when we get to self-mastery is. So, start up here in the front, self-mastery. Oh, you don't have a book.
Nope.
You get skipped. Okay, second, do you have it?
Yes.
Self-mastery is.
Finding it.
Okay.
Is it the self-mastery is the possession of great knowledge, skills, and habits that make you the master of you.
How many of you can think of something in your life, even if it's as little as making your bed every morning? How many of you can think of something that you have mastered? I'll give you an example. I was 8th grade, I played varsity softball because we didn't have a younger team. 9th grade, I show up, and I was a catcher. Really good catcher. I grew up on a dairy farm. I was stronger than all the rest of the women on the whole team. So freshman year, I get there, and my coach says, "Hey, I want you to pitch." And I looked at her and said, "I'm a catcher." She said, "I don't care, I want you to pitch." I said, "Okay, I'll pitch." So she took me in the gym, she made a square on the wall, she put a line at 40 feet, she gave me a bucket of balls and said, "Pitch." And I threw thousands of balls before the snow ever melted, before we could ever get outside. I got to that gym every single afternoon, and I threw buckets and buckets and buckets of balls at that wall. I was 14-1 as a freshman pitching on the varsity softball team because I had mastered it. I wasn't the fastest, but I was accurate. Man, if anyone, my catcher wanted it inside, I put it inside. I knew I could hit a fly on that thing because I did what it took to master it. I went on to play professional softball at a time when there really wasn't professional softball, but they told us we were professionals, and they offered to pay me, but I couldn't get paid because you couldn't get paid and still play in high school, and I was only a junior in high school, and I really wanted to play in high school. So, did it matter? Not then. There wasn't any there wasn't anything else to go on to. The point is that if you are willing to put in the effort to master something, it will make a difference in your life. So what do you need to master, and how are you gonna put the effort in to master something in real estate? Does anybody else have, like, now that you've heard that story, has anybody else mastered something? They feel like they got it, they know how to do it. You can always improve. But anybody have anything else they want to share about that? Karen, you have had a pretty
Yeah.
successful career prior to this, did you not?
Yeah, well, a couple careers, I guess.
Couple careers?
Well, I would go back to, initially I was a graphic designer, I actually had to go out of state to learn, the programs. They didn't even teach it in Maine, that's how old I am. But, anyway, and then I worked for Channel 8 for 8 years, I was art director, and, I would say that I mastered graphic design at the time. It's gone, you know, crazy now. But, but yeah, and I could make graphics for the news, by Deadline. I could make, you know, logos. I could do vehicle rep, you name it. I could make it. I could recreate it. I could do it, and I could do it fast. And I think I did a really nice job with it. So,
And it's because you put the time in.
yeah,
It's because you were willing to do what it took to master it.
yeah,
You're gonna see a number of things that you need to learn to master in this. And I'm gonna tell you right now, you brought it up earlier, scripts is the number one thing. I told you I was gonna tell you this, I took a class called Sweat Hogs. Yes, they actually had a real estate class named Sweat Hogs. It was put out by a guy by the name of Floyd Wickman. You can still Google him. He was a massive real estate trainer 25 years ago. I got licensed in like January 18th, and on February 1st, they decide we're going to drive an hour and a half to Halifax every day, once a week, for a full day, for 10 weeks, and take Sweat Hogs. So I'm like, okay, sure. I had to put it on my credit card, didn't have any money. They didn't pay us back like Bold does. So did it, put it on my credit card, off I went, jumped in the car, and went to Sweat Hogs. Well, what I learned was that there was a whole bunch of different things they were going to award people, and they were going to say, ooh, this one listed the most, and this one sold the most, and this one did that. And well, I was a professional athlete. I don't like to lose. So I just proceeded to win almost every single award in the 10 weeks of Sweat Hogs, because I was willing to do the work. I had 2 little kids. My husband at the time worked at an Irving or something. So I needed to make money, and I needed to be successful. So I did whatever it was that it took to get there. Well, scripts were the key to that. Many months, maybe probably a year or 2 later, I found my book that we got at Sweat Hogs with cassette tapes. I'll explain that to you at the break. There are little plastic things you put in your car. You could have a player. You could put your phone. Yeah, I'm just giving you a hard time. I always got some really kitty patooties that I get to pick on in every class. I swear. You're my guy. Sorry.
That's okay.
And so months, years, a couple of years later, I found my cassette tapes, and I was like, that's my Sweat Hog tape. And I put that in my car, and I went, I say that. Oh my God, I say that too. That's where I got that one from. And 80% of the things that I listened on those 10 tapes, somewhere in my vocabulary, I use that or a version of it. Why? Because it's a script. It was a script. And somebody way smarter than me had spent a lot of years figuring out that if you say these things, this works. So don't fight. We're going to put your hand up right now and say, I will not fight learning scripts. Ready? I will not fight learning scripts. Thank you. Because they will matter. When another thing that I will often tell people is the reason to me that my daughter became so successful so quick is because 1, she didn't have a choice. 2, because somebody she was 23-ish, 3, similar ages. And she said, they said, learn these words, learn these scripts. She will still outscript me all day long with actual scripts. I even have more stuff in my repertoire, but she mastered those scripts. And she, to this day, 5 years later, still knows those scripts. And they still work like they worked back when she was a buyer agent in Nashville, Tennessee. So, all right. So the next one, High Achievers. Sandra, you got High Achievers? You got your book there? No, you don't have a book.
Yeah, I have it on my computer.
Okay. High Achievers. What's it say about High Achievers? Oh, wait, we skipped timeout. Oh no, that's okay. That's what happened.
We were on
no,
the
we skipped the
6%.
80-20. I'm gonna go back to the 80-20. Then we'll do High Achievers. So the 80-20 principle, how many of you have heard of the 80-20 principle? Okay, all right, most of you. The 80-20 principle says that 20% of the work that you do creates 80% of the results. So why would you do 80% of the work and only get 20% of the results? If you focus on the things that matter, your success is much quicker, much more focused, and you waste tremendously less time because you focus on the things that matter. Later in this book, there's a kind of a game about what's important, what's critical, what's not. That helps you understand what your 20% is. So the 80-20 principle. This works in marriages, it works with your kids, it works in everyday everything. If you do the 20% of the things that matter most to your spouse, your life is a lot happier. So figure out what those are. And then teach him or her what yours are. Because it matters. You know, it really does. The 20% of everything in your life, that's why my people lead generate every single morning for 2 hours, because that's their 20%. The rest of it doesn't matter. So 80-20 rule. In Ignite, we identify your 20% for you, your money-making activities. Guess what? Lead generation. All right, so high achievers, Sandra, what do we say about them?
All right, moving back up, now we're down below.
Yeah.
Okay. So high achievers are always looking for the purposeful way. By doing this, they break through the ceiling of their natural behavior.
So I love E2P. It happens to be what Dottie and Leanne and Kathy and them named our LLC as E2P LLC. That's the name of our company, the LLC for it. E2P to me is really powerful because I'm very entrepreneurial. So I can do a lot of things really well just by accident or accidentally. Just because I grew up on a farm and I'm strong and I'm this and you know, we all have that. There's things we can all do really well accidentally. People who are tremendously successful in this business know when it is that they're done everything they can do with their own entrepreneurial spirit, and they find a way through coaching, through classes, through partnerships, through a wealth of things to push through to that next level, which takes you from being entrepreneurial to being purposeful. I have a lady down in North Carolina who for years and years, she did 21 and 22, 23, 21, 23 transactions. She came to me and she said, I can't do more than 22 transactions by myself. How come Noah can or David can? And I said, you know, we have to figure out what you're focusing on. So we had to figure out what her 20% was. Once we figured out what her 20% was, we realized that 80% of her stuff she was awful at was eating up all of her time so that she was never focusing on her 20%. I convinced her, and it was a convincing, to hire an admin. First, only 20 hours. That 20-hour admin took that 80% of the stuff completely off her plate. She did 42 transactions her first year with a half-time admin. She went to 60 transactions the next year when the admin went full-time. Then she got a buyer agent and blah, blah, blah. You know, the rest is history. So she was doing things that were not purposeful. She was just doing what she knew and talking to people. And I am sorry to tell you that I spent all that 89 transactions my third year was completely entrepreneurial. I didn't have systems. I'd come back from showing properties and they would put my call, you know, the pink slips that say you had a call them back. They'd put them on poster board. I'd have so many of them. Because you didn't have phones. You didn't have phones on the road. So I'd go out on the road, I'd come back and there was nothing purposeful about me. Because I didn't know this stuff. Learn this stuff. When you get to a place where you need somebody that you're spending way too much of your time on your 80%, you are not being purposeful. You need to be able to push through. If my coach hadn't drawn that line on that wall and just said go pitch, I would have never been the pitcher that I became, ever. Because she made me purposeful, because she put that thing on, and I love this lady, by the way, I respected her so much. And the line on the line put the thing on the wall and said, they put an X and said hit those 4 different places, and that was purposeful. That's why I got so good at it, because I just kept doing it because I had a purpose. So watch for that. Well, watch that in your life, in your nursing, in your anything. We all only have a certain level of talent that we can push to. After that, we need help. And a lot of times that's through coaching, it's through organizational skills, it's through leverage, it's through getting help. So, a variety of ways. Okay, the next one is making learning-based the foundation of your action plan. We have it back there?
A learning-based individual is an individual who has made the decision to use effective learning as the foundation piece for their action plan to develop their life.
Learn for earning's sake. Don't just learn for learning's sake. Some people learn for learning's sake instead of learning for earning's sake. Learn things that are going to help you move ahead. Learn things that are going to help you move ahead either in your personal life, in your health, in your spiritual world, in whatever world it is that you need growth in. Focus your learning-based activities around those things. If I were to go take a class right now, I would likely be taking a class on how to hire the greatest admin on the planet because I need another admin. So that's something that I need in my world, so I would go seek something to do that. I have taken numerous coaching classes. I fly to Austin every year to take a thing called Coaching Skills Camp, and then this year I'll take Advanced Coaching Skills Camp. Because the better I am at coaching you and you and you, the better I am as a leader. The better I am as a leader, the more successful I'm going to be. And I have to continually be in the classroom or surrounding myself with people who do what I need to do better than I do it. And that's another really big thing about Keller Williams. If you struggle with being on the phone, call me and say, can I come listen to your people lead generate? You can come sit in the middle here. You can sit on our therapy couch. We have a therapy couch. You can come sit on our therapy couch and you can listen to people pick up the phone, dial after dial after dial. And then once in a while we'll hear somebody have a really great conversation and the whole room will break out in applaud because we're so excited that somebody had that great conversation. If that's what's uncomfortable, find somebody who does it. The ALC will let you listen to them lead generate any day, all day long. And some of them are really good at it. So plug into that. If there's a place in your world that you feel like there's a gap, find someone who's already narrowed that gap and learn from them. Again, another bonus of being learning based. Okay, the fifth personal perspective is remove your limiting beliefs. Ooh, this is a big one. Remove your limiting beliefs.
High achievers remove beliefs from their thinking that hold them back.
Yeah. How many of you have a few limiting beliefs in your brain right now? Here we go. Okay. What's your biggest limiting belief right now?
Actually, because we were just talking about lead generating, it's right there. I've been reaching out to my sphere, and kind of my sphere, we're all in this interesting place where we're not ready to downsize yet, and some of my friends that are on the older side have kids coming out of college, but they're not ready to buy yet. So I feel like I've beaten my sphere of influence, and because I'm still new and I'm individual and I'm not on a team, I'm kind of like, oh, well, where
So
do
can
I
I
go
coach
now?
you on this?
Yes, please.
Okay. How many people do each one of the people in your sphere know?
Oh, I couldn't tell you. A lot.
The average person knows at least 200 people.
Yep.
The average person in North America knows 5 to 6 people that are going to sell their house this year.
Yep.
So take it a step further. When you have the next conversation, say, you know what? I know that Joey doesn't graduate for another year and you're not going to move. But I know you had a son that just graduated 2 years ago. Do you have any idea if any of his family, any of his friends,
Yes.
Be specific. One of the other things people do on lead gen, especially with the sphere, that they forget to do is, if you say to somebody, hey, Karen, who do you know that's going to have a baby in the next 9 months, because we know by now, that's going to have a baby in the next 9 months that's going to need to get a bigger house, or is going to be ready to buy their first house. Now they go to work that day and they see a pregnant woman, they go, oh my gosh, congratulations, when do you want to buy a house? They do. They literally do that for you. I had this 82-year-old lady that I sold her house. The other person before me couldn't sell it. And I convinced her I could sell it. And I didn't insult her because I tried to explain what a website was, and she kicked me because she had her own website. So you had to learn that lesson quick too. Do not assume. Yeah, she kicked me across the table. It was pretty funny. I sold her house. I made her this little book for her house. When she went to the retirement place at Highland something in Portland, she took that book, and I had to take her new cards every 3 months because she gave so many of my cards out to every old person that came there, even if they were visiting people. One of the nurses went to, because I used to go visit her about once a month. I mean, I got to bring her cards. I'm like, I'm not going to let this lady run out of cards. They would call me and go, I don't remember her name, but some lady at Highland, blah, 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 gave me your name. I'm like, I know exactly who it was. It was Marilyn. And so I would go visit her. One time the nurses said, we had to stop her. She was going around to every table in the dining room and talking about you. And I thought, yes. So, you know, again, being able to remove those limiting beliefs that an 82-year-old going in an elderly home can't help you. That you think bigger, think outside the box, think about who. Yeah, Karen.
One thing that I've been recently doing, and I think that it's helping, is asking my close friends if I could set a time with them so that actually we could go through their phone or their Facebook, and then that starts to jog ideas of who they might be able to connect me with or that kind of thing. So it just kind of like branches out that way.
Yeah. One of my favorite questions, I was a big advocate. I was a regional director for BNI. If you don't know about BNI, Business Network International, and when it first came, that was another one of those things I put on the credit card in Nova Scotia, and it paid off tremendously, was joining BNI. And the single biggest lesson I take from many years in BNI, yes, I know how to tell them about what my business is in a small amount of time. The biggest thing is when I introduce myself to somebody and say, hi, how are you today? I'm Janice, I'm with Keller Williams Realty. What I wanted to know today is, how can I help you build your business? What is a great referral for you, Karen? Because, you know, I'm a local business person, and I'm very involved in helping other business people build their business. I know you own this graphic design shop, and you have beautiful, who's a perfect client for you? When you come from contribution, the whole attitude changes completely. So come from contribution on when you're talking to people. I did a Bold 100 years ago when I was in Hendersonville. I counted out 100 cards. I left the office at 9 and I had a 1:30 appointment. I said, I'll be back for my 1:30 and I won't have any cards left. And I walked the streets. Hendersonville has a beautiful big long serpentine main street. And I walked the streets and I went into every shop and I asked them what a great referral was, and I took and wrote on the back of their cards, and I met 100 people. I gave out 100 cards. I talked to probably 120 people really, because there were couples and stuff, and I only gave one card if it was a couple. And out of that, I got a couple of people that joined Keller Williams. I did referrals to a couple of different people because they were nail salons, whatever it was. The point was that I was purposeful about it. The point was that I thought outside the box. And the biggest point was that I asked them how I could help them before I asked for their help. Don't forget that. That's really important. All right. And then the last one is accountability. Be accountable. Accountability is first and foremost an attitude and an approach to your entire life. An accountable person says, everything in my life is a result of my choices and my actions. I own my life. It pretty much took me 58 years to really master that one, I have to tell you. I had something happen last year that it doesn't matter what it was. I really was kind of a victim of some stuff that happened, and I had to be accountable for it because it happened. And I didn't find a way to stop it from happening, so it happened. So I learned, I think in one matter of a week or two, I learned that it is what it is. It happened. I'm going to put it behind me and I'm going to move forward. In the rest of my life, I have spent time. I've had a lot of victims in my, who knows those victims? Oh, everything's somebody else's fault. oh no, I couldn't get here because the train stopped. Well, if you'd left 7 minutes earlier, you wouldn't have hit the train. You know, be accountable. I mean, you own it, own it. I just 3 days ago had a closing. This closing is closing, this closing is closing, and this closing is closing. I list, both of these are my listings. So I have I'm in the middle of this 3-way closing thing, and the person in the middle calls me at 6:30 in the morning of closing, walkthrough is at 9, and says, we're never gonna make it, we're not gonna be out. And I said, yes you are. I got in my car and I was in Gorham so fast, or Standish so fast, your head would spin, and guess what? They were out at 8:45. When that walkthrough people showed up, it was nothing but a cart in the driveway with a bunch of stuff in it. You know, we do what we have to do. And, you know, is that, and about 20 hours before that, I heard from my other seller, because now my buyers are talking to my sellers who are talking to everybody. It's like, don't let that happen. That, oh, they were blaming me because they weren't out yet. That was the day before. They were blaming me, and it was because I don't even remember what the reason was. So I called them and I said, I understand that there may be you may have some concerns that some things didn't wash out exactly the way you expected. I just want to talk to you about them. And I want to make sure that I can make them right. Because I want every single transaction, I want my people to get exactly what they want and exactly what they expected. So talk to me about what, and we talked it through, and I said, you know what, I'll own that. I really didn't deserve to own it. It didn't matter. The next morning she calls me at 6:30, I show up at her house at 6:45. Who do you think is the greatest realtor in the planet to them right now? Me. They're going to tell everyone in whatever church it is they go to over there in Standish that I'm in. Because I was accountable. Because I stepped up when I needed to step up. We all need to learn to do that. You need to learn to do that. In every aspect of your life, be accountable. Own it. Don't make an excuse for it. Own it.
Yeah, I've been in the victim role for the past year.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you had my life, if you lost your husband,
Yep.
if this and that, then you would understand. You can't judge me, walk in my shoes, and all this other stuff.
Yep.
But you know, and
did it get you anywhere?
it hasn't. And I've thought.
How does it feel to be out of it? Because you're not in it anymore, Sandra. I see you come to bold. You're not in it anymore. Does it still come back? Of course it does.
Well, I still have insecurities because I'm doing, being a mom and
Yeah.
doing all this stuff by myself that I never
Yeah.
had to, and so it's scary.
And what did you just say? I'm doing.
Yeah.
You didn't say I have to do, I should be doing. You said I'm doing.
Yes,
You're past it.
I am
You made
doing
it. And it's gonna be hard. I lost a sister at 54 years old 3 years ago. It was awful. It's awful. I get it. And she and your husband would want you to be owning it right now. And they're looking down and they're proud. So, yeah. All right, so on page 14, getting the most out of this experience. I don't think we have any problems here. Basically, this talks about there's 3 ways that you could go to class. You can come to class as a prisoner. That means somebody told you got to get there. You got to show up. Nobody in here is that. The second one is the vacationer. A day in class is better than a day on the job. None of you got that either because I just know you don't. I can tell because you're participating. And the explorer, which is what all of you are the way you're acting, you listen attentively, you participate, you talk to when we ask to talk, you ask meaningful questions, you arrive on time, the whole 9 yards. That's what you need to be every time you go to a class. If you're going to a class and you don't have that mindset, go buy somebody a coffee before you get there, or do something that makes sure you think of gratitude and think about positive things so that you go into that class with it all. If not, don't go to the class. Don't show up if you're not going to show up. So we have all had plenty of people in our life show up that weren't really there, and it's not good. It just doesn't work. So, okay. So getting the most out of Ignite, we've already talked about the missions. And we've talked about the ground rules basically are, turn your phone off, nobody's phone is rung, so we were good on that one. Ground rules are over on 17. Arrive on time, be fully present, we just talked about that. How you participate in here is how you participate everywhere. If you're afraid to talk to these people, get over it, because you're gonna have to talk to strangers. So, respect the different learning styles. We all learn differently. I am exceedingly visual. You show me something visually, I will never forget it. I remember everyone's phone number from ever in my life. You tell it to me, I might not hear you, because I'm probably thinking about something I saw 5 minutes ago. So we all learn differently. Help each other learn, because none of us is as smart as all of us together. Consider everything we discuss as confidential. I mean, it's a little hard when we're on Facebook Live, but you know, yeah, if we have conversations in here, and you know, hopefully we just won't have any that we don't want on Facebook Live. Commit to implementing at least one thing you learn. When you leave here today, you're gonna have a bunch of things, and I'm gonna hold you to at least one thing. And then over on, right before that on page 16, the expectation, we're going to declare a personal big why. We're going to come up with some monetary goals. Because of the new, the way CGI works and stuff, we're not going to go through the entire exercise that's in the book, because now there's a lot easier way to do it than doing it on paper in the book. We've grown up in that respect. So, and we're gonna make some calls today. We're actually gonna make 3 calls to introduce ourselves to people in our world, to tell them that we're in real estate. So I know, the people are looking at me like, you didn't tell me how to make phone calls. Okay, so go over to page 19. Know your big why and monetary goals. Big why. A big why is the reason you get out of bed in the morning. It's the reason that you show up all in, ready to go. Your big why could be a nonprofit. Your big why could be your kid. Your big why could be twins. Your big why could be moving your mother here from Turkey. Your big why could be a lot of things. That lady I told you about that spoke Spanish, her big why was she had 2 siblings and a mother, and she wanted to move them here from Venezuela. She wanted to move them to Hendersonville from Venezuela, and by the end of her first year, she moved all 3 of them to Hendersonville. You want to talk about a big why? Every time she had a closing, she put X amount of money away because she was going to bring them, and she brought them. So she has now married off 2 of her kids. She is now, I mean, it's just exponential now. So big why. My big why when I started in this business was my kids. It was my kids. I wanted to teach my kids a crazy, amazing work ethic. I wanted them, I foolishly didn't want them to have to work as hard as I did. I grew up on a dairy farm. My siblings went to college. They're 8 and 9 years older than me. So when I was 8, I took over the farm by myself. Wow. My sisters were 6, 4, and 2 after that. They weren't a lot of help. So I worked 364 days a year. I love March 19th, Dottie's birthday as well. I love March 19th because it was the only day I had off for many, many, many years. So my big why was I wanted my kids to understand that work ethic and not have to kill themselves the way I thought my dad needed to kill himself. You know, come find out later he actually had money, but I didn't know that. Because we lived a life of normality, you know, we lived on a farm, you know. So now, my big why now is every single one of you. It's those people in that room. I want to make a difference every single day to somebody. Sometimes it's that person in Dunkin' Donuts. Sometimes it's one of you. Sometimes it's my people in there. And I'll find it for you in a bit, I got a message where one of the most important things to me in my real estate life is that, whoops, low battery. Oh well, I guess it's gonna run out of battery. One of the most important things in my life is creating the kind of attitude that people remember you by, and being that person that people can go to, etc. So one of my guys this week, we have this very long group text in my group. One of my guys was writing an offer, and I'm not going to tell you who the person was, but it's a great agent who's been around a long time at another company. And I said, oh, make sure you tell her that you work with Janice, but tell her I'm Seelig because nobody knows I'm Ryder because that's my maiden name and I changed it back. So I get this text message from my agent who I said told to, and this is, oh, by the way, a $1.39 million offer we're writing. The listing agent for my sale is blank. When I mentioned I work with Janice, she responded, love her. She trained me 15 years ago when I started. She is the best trainer and motivator. She is so passionate about helping others. Lucky you have her. She is the best teacher I've seen in 15 years. You want to make me think I'm just going to post this somewhere and read it every time I think that something's not going well in my life, because that to me is what matters to me now, is that I can create those kind of people in the world, and that's why I teach Ignite. I have other things I could be doing, but I'm here because I can make a difference to every single one of you just a little bit today. So that's my big why now. So I want you to spend 10 minutes. We'll go 10 minutes till like 10 after, really thinking about your big why, and then we're gonna break till 10:15. So we're gonna take, 5, 10, 8 minutes to work on your big why, then we're gonna take a break, and then we'll come back here at 10:15. Think about it. What is your big why? Why do you want to sell real estate? There could be a million different reasons. We'll talk about it after, but I'm not gonna make anybody share all their secrets if they don't want to. So, all right, spend some time thinking about it.